Hey everybody, it's the Southern Ontario Dirt Show right here on wherever you're catching your podcasts. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, we're everywhere, Travis, now. And I have to say, episode 11, I made
Yeah.
sure to remember the number this time. We're on episode 11, and I think it's time we start playing a little game with these numbers. Maybe it'll help me actually keep track. So who is the first number 11 you think of when you think of Southern Ontario
Ooh.
racing?
Bryce Richardson. Oh, that's 11R, but
Oh, wow. Okay. See, I was
yeah,
going to
Jamie
go,
Turner.
I would have gone Jamie Turner.
Yeah, Jamie too.
Yep.
I was thinking Merrittville, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, both are good options there between Bryce and Jamie. So, episode 11 of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show with Jonathan and Travis. Let's get into what was a very busy weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We had racing 4 nights over the Canada Day long weekend. Start with Thursday. Knights of Thunder back in action at Humberstone Speedway, which you were a part of. So, how did that one go from your driver's point of view, Travis?
No hot laps, so the first few sets of heats were hammered down for the other classes. I know the crates said they were pretty wide open, but then the mods went. So for us, it was pretty one lane around the top, kind of pretty hard to pass unless you threw a dirty slider or something. There wasn't much of that going on, so just kind of started fifth, finished fifth, but then started 13th, went to fifth in the main. Got lucky with a couple people falling out. Mikey Crutchford was running third and blew a brake rotor off, and Braden Cooley in the 20. I think he had a bolt fall at the front end, so a couple easy spots there. But other than that, I passed a few cars too. I think I passed 4 cars on the opening lap. Usually on nights when I go forward, it's always on the first lap. I do a lot of my sniping because it's a short race and you're all bunched up. That's when you got to get them.
Yeah, fair enough. So, and you turned just looking over your stats, you turned your best lap pretty late into the show too. Your best lap was on lap 18 of 25.
Yeah, it was
So
definitely coming to me.
you definitely, even though you got some work done quick, you were obviously had it coming
Yeah,
into it. So that's good.
Thursday we felt really
Nice,
fast.
good run for you. Obviously, a good run for
Hmm.
Mitch Brown. Yeah, I bet. Well, you've been talking about your short track program being dialed in this
Yeah.
whole time, and two other guys that have their programs dialed in across the board have been Corey and Ryan Turner, who brought it home second and third in the first Knights of Thunder 360 Sprint Car Series race, but they could not catch Mitch Brown. How about Mitch Brown winning the opener?
Yeah, Mitch Brown winning definitely makes me wish I got a little bit better qualifying because he basically ran my line. Like rolled the bottom. He's real good at that too. That's why they call him Downtown Mitch Brown. And yeah, put him on the pole on a track like that, and it's going to be hard to beat Mitch. And he didn't make any mistakes. I think the only Mac might have got him once on the top or showed his nose, and then Corey threw a haymaker at him. I think with 2 to go, but he was able to cross him back under and take the win.
Yeah, so that's a good start to the weekend. Looking at some of the other results from that first night uh, at Humberstone, it was a wild one for the modifieds, mostly because of uh, some pretty big accidents. And in particular, I think the one that I think we all kind of saw went around was Mike Bowman's part failure that had him basically using the turn one guardrail as a ramp before flipping that 71 and really destroying that car. So glad Mike ended up being okay out of that one. But tale of two different racing series for Mike Bowman.
Hmm.
Modifieds, pretty rough for him, but not rough for Chad Chevalier, who ended up winning it.
Yeah, I was going to talk about like Bowman won the crate sprint feature, and then 20 minutes later totally junked the modified, which was tough for him. And yeah, it was just nothing. His thing was similar to like my thing with Holly
Yeah,
Porter, where he clipped the wall and flattened the tire, and then it was acting like a ski, and he couldn't quite steer. So it's funny that happened to him too, because that's literally what happened to me with the Holly Porter thing. So then yeah, but then Chad Chevalier picked up after that, and Heavy Chevy looked awesome, rolling
yeah,
that slick track, and yeah, picked up the win for Rick Belante in the Rick's Delivery number 12.
yeah. Heavy Chevy's had some speed from the nights that I've been calling him over at Merrittville Speedway. Hasn't been able to quite put it all together over there yet, but you kind of felt like this was just a matter of time. Gary Lindbergh brings it home second. He had some speed all weekend. We'll get to him a little later on. Danny O'Brien back in the 3RS and out in the mods this weekend, and he had good night on Thursday night, bringing it home third. Todd Gordon, good night in fourth, and Tyler Willard rounded at the top five in the SNW Service Center 358 mods over at Humberstone that night. And like you mentioned in the crates, Mike Bowman gets it done, wins it pretty. I don't want to say pretty handedly, but a 2.5 second gap back to Bardier. So uh, Bowman definitely flexing some muscle in the crates.
Yeah, he definitely had an awesome run. It was pretty much sealed. Bardier, I'd never seen him before. I think he's from Quebec in the 19. He was his only real challenger. He stayed with him a little bit, but closing laps, Bowman definitely pulled away, and it was awesome to see him pick up the first win in the crate sprinter pretty quick. Just one more thing I want to touch on Chevalier with the modifieds is like because Humberstone is his home track. Like when I first started going to the dirt races, like Chad would run
Yep.
Sportsman and he would run mostly Humberstone and not go to Merrittville all that much, and then he started going to both and all that kind of stuff. So he lives literally just around the corner, so that helped Chevalier there. And then yeah, Bowman and the crate sprint. Dykstra actually got upside down on the opening lap, and they had to go to the pits and change both wings, which like my crew would never get that done. I love my crew, love you guys, but I would be shocked if you guys got both wings changed in a 2 minute work area. And the Dykstra crew definitely got it done, and they had a little bit extra time because it took a little bit longer than the 2 minutes to clean up, which helped them. But they definitely got back out there and wheeled it up pretty close to the front. I think can't remember. I think I saw
Mm-hmm.
him in six at one point.
He brought it just outside the top five. Dykstra ended up being
Yes,
sixth in the 5D.
yes,
Your
good
top
job
five
there.
was Bowman, Bardier, Darren Dryden brought it home third, Alan Downey with a good run in fourth, and Brett Strafford at the BS 39 brought it home fifth.
Yeah, Brett Stratford, Mister. He's been finishing. I think he's got five or six fifth place finishes this year. And then yeah, so that's a good run for him. Although I know he says he's sick of finishing fifth and he wants to finish higher. I can totally understand there because I finished fifth and I wanted to finish higher that night too. But he's been rolling good. And fourth place, Alan Downey, good run for him. He's been struggling kind of like me at Ashweekend, but
Yep.
been good at the other tracks, just like me. So and he helped me load my drum of fuel tonight at the
Yeah, he
tournament
was on the
place. So
podium.
yeah, so good job, Alan.
Yep, on the podium a couple weeks ago at Merrittville.
And I hope his luck changes at
It was a good
Ashweekend
run
just
for
like mine
Downey
does.
to keep up that speed. Yeah, exactly. Right. You got that same short track program dialed
Mm-hmm.
in. Got to get the big track going a little bit. A couple other series that were in action on Thursday. Well, it was just one other series was the uh, where was it here? The Mod Lights and actually the Thunderstocks. So we had
And three
five
stocks,
series
yeah.
in action, I should say, on that opening night. Yep. So Brent Bigelow, no surprise when it comes to Mod Lights. He has won just about everything there is to win this year. He wins another one at Humberstone over Josh Slider, Sean F. Toddy, RJ Pitts, and Ryan Anderson. So good run for Ryan Anderson, too, in the 44. Top five finish for him at Humberstone. And in the street stock feature, Dave Bailey. No surprise, Dave Bailey gets it done on June 30th, which was this first of two wins for Bailey at Humberstone. That more, I think the second one deserves a little bit more attention. We'll get to that uh, in just a couple minutes. But Bailey wins it over Jim Lampman, then Donnie Lampman, Jason Fontaine, and Zach Bleach, the top five. And that was the opening day of Pinty's Canada Day weekend at Humberstone Speedway. Next night, we had the Sprint Car Nationals. Ryan Turner gets it done, winning uh, at Oshweekend.
Yeah. Ryan's actually his first ever win at Ashweekend, and it's for 10,000 big ones. So definitely congrats to Ryan and crew, Ryan, Jenna and crew, and the whole Burger Barn team because they won the Burger Barn Canadian Sprint Car Nationals as well. So that's another big deal. And yeah, the funny part is like I was following Ryan all the way through the field on Thursday night. Like I felt like I could run with him, and then Saturday he lapped me senseless, like I was not even there. It was like just what a performance from Ryan. He's definitely got Ashweekend dialed in, and yeah, I was super happy for him. Another guest of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a successful season for the most part for our guests, and Ryan Turner obviously gets it done. Now, I, I this is technically our first local Canadian winner, correct? Like this is what we would call a local hero winning the Sprint Car
Yeah,
Nationals, right?
Yep. Well,
And I
yeah,
don't
he's
think we
the
can
former
shortchange him.
last year's ESS champ on him the whole time.
Yeah,
Nope, because he had Paulie Colagiovanni on his butt the whole time, and Matt Farnham. So there's definitely some out of towners there putting on. Even Dylan Westbrook's an out of towner now almost
yeah. At this
because
point, right?
he might. I know he's off this. Yeah, so he finished. So even to beat Westbrook is insane, right? I said the slick track would equalize Westbrook a little bit, and I was completely right because he only got to third. He had to start sixth, and because he didn't have a very good dash, and Turner smoked them in the dash, which was like the pole scramble.
Yeah,
I watched that, and I knew he was going to win right then. He was, and yeah, well done, Ryan.
yeah.
Again.
Fastest qualifier award went to Mac Deman, who got himself $300 from Quick Fire Starter, and then the fastest Canadian qualifier also goes to Mac Deman. So a good night for him. A little extra cash is always good. That was courtesy Oshwegan Speedway. Hard Charger award went to Corey Turner, who picked up $300 from Nitro 54 Variety. And the Larry Gartley Memorial Last Chance Hard Charger Award also to Corey Turner, picking up $200 from Dottie Creek Agri Services. So two drivers taking home for the extra bonus award money spots. Tell us about your drive. I know you ended up 14th, but when I talked to you, the biggest thing you just wanted to make the show, right? So I think you accomplished that and put on a pretty good show considering you started 20th and brought it home 14th. That's a pretty decent little pickup for yourself, Travis.
Yeah, it was okay. I was up. I talked to Mac Demand, quick qualifier in the pay line. He had a similar night to me. We were both super quick in hot laps. I think I was in the top five overall, or in time trials, I mean. And yeah, the hard part about that is then you had to invert. So I qualified second in my group. Nick Sheridan was quickest, and I had to start behind Corey Turner for my troubles. So really tough sledding there. Although Corey did end up falling out in his heat, but I had a terrible heat race. That was my fall of the night. I started third, finished fifth. Was going to be sixth if Corey didn't fall out, so I barely scraped in through the heat. I was pretty upset at that. But then the feature dialed her in a little bit, and little first lap jingle. I don't know if I came down on Burbage a little, or anyway, he ended up pretty much in my cockpit. So I didn't have any damage. He was done for the night. So tough break for John. Sorry about that. Pretty sure we both were probably in on it a little bit. And after that, yeah, passed some cars, and most of my cars came on the lap. There was like a restart with a couple go, and I snookered. I swear, like three guys. So that was a good thing for me that last restart. Otherwise, I would have been 17th or so.
Yep. That night also featured the Action Sprint Tour fueled by Pinty's, which saw Jacob Dykstra claim the win there. Um, where else did I have here? I've got the top five in that one: Dykstra, Billings, Lucas Smith, Jesse Costa, and AJ Lewis. We also had the Dirt Car 358 modifieds at Ash Weekend. And it was a bit of a reduced field after the carnage Thursday night at Humberstone, and I feel like even carnage dating back to Merrittville. It's been a grind for the 358s in the last week or so, and only
Yeah.
10 cars out at Osh Weekend for that one. But Gary Lindbergh, the best of them all, brought it home with the win. Tyler Willard was second, Chad Chevalier third, Danny O'Brien fourth, and Brad Rouse rounds out your top five there.
Yeah, it was also tough losing a couple cars because they ran against Ransomville. That was the main thing. So that's like when Matt wasn't there because Matt was at Twin 20s at Ransomville. And you might have snagged a couple Americans. But
Yeah.
the main thing of the race was the nasty flip from Todd Gordon. I don't want to talk about it either, but because it was a real ugly one and it cost Todd and Flash a car after their good run on Thursday night. They were feeling pretty good, and yeah, now the 28 is junk. And I saw their new frame at work today, new to them, but it's a 2022 car, so they've already got the new frame already in the works. So hopefully, it's only Wednesday they can possibly jam her together.
Yeah, well, Todd picked up the Osh Weekend ride for Glenn Steyer's on Saturday at Merrittville. So Todd got to get back in the race car, which was a really good thing to see after I know starting second and had
Mm-hmm.
that wild flip. And it was everything was kind of like this weekend was obviously busy with my other job, but getting home Friday night late and kind of looking back over, and you obviously see the photos and things start to go around on social media, and it was a lot, man. It was a pretty scary scene, but glad that Todd was okay, able to keep it racing, and I'm glad it sounds like we're going to see a 28 back on the racetrack fairly soon. maybe.
Yeah, it should be pretty soon. I'm thinking Flash don't sit around very often. He hates seeing his car around the track. So good old Flash Gordon, he'll have her back out there. I guarantee you.
Yeah, and the one race night I was actually able to make it out to Saturday night. I was back at Merrittville calling the action as we had a pretty full lineup of racing. Gary Lindbergh wins the 358 Corpac Merchandising 358 mod feature in probably the most dominating performance I think we've seen this year. He was just he was in another zip code, man. Like
Matt's
I
had a couple, but that was a dominating one from Gary for sure, especially in the slick, where Gary
yeah.
usually that's like he's more of a when there's a real big cushion. That's usually when he's super fast. So for Gary to roll the middle in the super slick like that and drive away, and yeah,
Yeah,
shows he's starting to get that slick program figured out too.
yeah, every time I thought he was going to get slowed down by lap traffic too, he just kind of got through it and then picked the pace right back up again. Like when I talked to him in Victory Lane, he mentioned I was kind of talking to him off the mic before he was still getting unbuckled. He was like, I was telling him like, dude, you were in cruise control. That thing was insane. And he was like, well, really? Like I was looking up at the scoreboard and I saw them there and I saw it looked like they were fast behind me. And every time I kind of looked back, I could kind of see them. And I was like, I don't think anybody ever got closer than 2.5 seconds after Gary checked out on the lead. Like he was just in control and
Mm-hmm.
minded that gap the whole time. Good good race to the line by between I don't even know what to call them at this point. I think we got to call them rivals. I think there is quite a little rivalry brewing between Pete McNell and Matt Williamson. At those two had a nose to nose battle at the stripe. Pete got the best of them, and then I think there was a little bit of
Yeah,
drama in the pits, but I'm sure they've talked it out and worked it out since. So it was Lindbergh, Bicknell, Williamson, Ryan Susie brings it home fourth, and Brad Rouse rounds out your top five. And Brad's going to be on the show in just a little bit as well. We're going to have Brad on, and our winner and our sportsman, Darrell Farraway. So those are going to be two guests today. But before we move on from the modifieds, I feel like you got a little something to say. You might want to weigh in on that Bicknell Williamson rivalry, Travis.
no, it's just nothing new. Those two have been poking at each other a long time. I can remember when I worked there at BRP in 2012. I think they had a little dust up at Humberstone. So yeah, those two are like oil and water a little bit. Uh, I thought you were gonna say it was Susie because Matt had the really awesome race. I was watching it and then I split. I didn't even stay for the Victory Lane interview. I'm not gonna lie, but like I watched the whole mod feature and the best battle on the track for the most part was between Ryan Susie and Matt Williamson for I think it was third. Like those two were going at it nonstop. If that battle would have been for the lead, we would have been talking about what a barn burner of a race it was. But Gary Lindbergh decided to stink up the show instead, which is great for him. But yeah, those two were having a great battle too, Williamson and Susie.
Yeah, they were going at it for several laps, and then the Bicknell Williamson thing kind of developed late. Like I didn't see it coming in until I think I
Yeah,
announced that Lindbergh came across the line, and then I looked at it down the straightaway at a turn four, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're side by side. This is going to be a full on drag race right to it, and yeah, it was wild. But yeah, Williamson raced well with Susie as well. Good racing. Honestly, it was. We know what I'm
got to give
saying.
it to Pete
That
too, though. Pete's been having an awesome year,
yeah, yeah, it's super
his best year
consistent.
in
There's
about
so
5 years.
many consistent. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's so much consistency happening. Like, and this has been building for Pete because he was good and pretty consistent last year. And if not for an incident between he and Williamson last year, there might be a different 358 champion besides Bowman, or
yeah.
it would have been a little bit closer. So, honestly, it's a stacked
And
field right
Pete
now. I
finished
we
second in both. Yeah, stacked field for sure. Sorry, but Pete finished second in both Friday night features at Ransomville. So we haven't been talking about Ransomville all that much anymore, but Pete finished second in both of them on Friday. So yeah, he's definitely
Yeah,
got the 4-2
we
rolling
definitely have to
pretty
start
good.
paying a little bit of attention. Got to pay a little bit more attention to Ransomville. I know it's on the other side of the ditch, but there's still some great racing, great
Yeah,
car counts going on over on that side as well too. So I'm sure we'll start touching on it when we can. But this is a bit, like I say, this is one of the busiest weekends I think we've had on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Period. So uh, let's let's before we get to our first interview, let's just tee this up. Todd Gordon, or excuse me, Todd Gordon, Brad Rouse. We caught up with him pre-race. We wanted to catch up with him last week. after he won his very first 358 modified feature at Merrittville. It
Mm-hmm.
feels so weird to call this guy a rookie, but that's kind of what he is right now in the modifieds. With all the experience he has in a sportsman, it definitely doesn't act like it. And I think we should catch up with Brad Rouse now. So let's go to that interview that we had with Brad Rouse pre-race at Merrittville. All right, it's Travis Cunningham and Jonathon House standing by for the Southern Ontario Dirt Show with Brad Rouse. Brad, how's it been going?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Not bad, not bad. It's been a busy week of racing and coming home to a Saturday night at Merrittville, where just a couple weeks ago we found you in Victory Lane. Tell us about finally winning in a modified here at Merrittville.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I never ever thought I would win a modified for sure against the competition that we race against here on a Saturday night. So I guess sportsmen, as we got a good bunch of sportsman guys to come to the modified and win. It's amazing actually. So.
Brad, you're running the W16 combo, and you've been switching back and forth from sail panels and the regular windows. Just tell us the difference you feel in the sail panels and like how it works with the W16 combo, and because you won on the sail panels.
Yeah, we won with the sail panels, but I've been trying to help Donnie out, try to get the sail panels off them. A lot of people don't like them. Some people like them. I don't know. I think they don't look like a normal modified. So if we can maybe get the sail panels off, but try to keep the advantage to the W16s, try to even the field out a little bit with the W16s. It's cost-wise. We got $7,400 tied up in this motor, and you know what? It runs good. For that kind of money to run modified, that's pretty decent. So.
And how do you feel the gap is closing? Because it feels like on the racetrack, for the most part, the W16s are keeping up pretty good, even some of them without the sail panel. So it seems like the gap is narrowing as the season's gone on.
Yeah, it helps because the tracks have been slick around here this year more than ever. It just, when the tracks are heavy, the big motors are going to be good. When it's slick, the Wagners will be a little bit better. But you know what? We're competing against Gary and Matt with the open motors. Those guys got their programs top notch, and they're professional racers in a way, right? So they know what to do to make it better, and it shows in the long run. When they're here, it's tough to beat.
All right, Brad, you had 2 nights before this week already. You raced Thursday at Humberstone and last night at Ushweek, and just tell us about how that happened. That went, and I know you got in a jingle at Thursday at Humberstone.
Yeah, Thursday we got in a little jingle. We wrecked the front end and everything, but we got her all fixed up. Went to Oswego last night, and we had a pretty decent car in the heat, and made a couple rookie changes to the chassis and everything for setup, and we missed for the feature. But you know what? Go up there, have Glenn have us up there to put on a good show, hopefully, for the fans. And the facility up there is great. And Humberstone, the track was really good, too, on Thursday. So we got to give them credit with that.
So switching to the modifieds this year versus the sportsman, have you found it more of an adjustment in terms of the competition level and who you have to race? Or do you find the biggest adjustment is the vehicle itself?
The throttle response on the modified, it's the sportsman, you could go out there and I remember when I ran sportsman, then I hopped in the modified, went into turn 1 and drove right off the end. But it's just a tough situation. It's fast. It's actually really fun and enjoyable, challenging, and I really do like the modified. And hopefully we can keep going with the modified for sure.
All right, Brad, I always like to bring up Super Dirt Week when someone's got a good story there. You won the sportsman race there. I forget which year it was. It was mid-2010s, I believe. And you had a special paint job on that day for your wife's grandpa, Bob Sr. Tell us about that whole deal that weekend. I think you came from pretty deep to win that, too.
Yeah, we came from 22nd to win that. Made a lap pass around lap 23 or something like that and won it. But it was just amazing to go down there with all those. I think we had 78 cars that year or something like that. And to start that far deep to win it, and with the paint scheme for Papa there too, it was pretty amazing. And the guys, Bob Jr. really stepped up, helped us that year. Paint job, Norm from turn 4 for sure. Back then he painted it all, and I think we might, if we go to Oswego this year, we might do something just to kind of match it up. They want some retro paint jobs, so I thought it'd be kind of cool if we could maybe do that for this year.
Any ideas for that retro paint job yet?
I think we're going to end up doing the one we won Syracuse with, the 30. We used to call that car Sweet Sue. So if we can keep that thing going, that'll be kind of cool. I don't know if we'll match the paint exactly, but we'll get something close to it.
So turning attention back to the modifieds, we're trying to run the full season in the modifieds here at Merrittville. You got to win under your belt. You've been very consistent so far. I think maybe only one finish outside the top 10, and it was maybe in 11th place. So you've been really strong in it so far.
Do you feel like you have enough to maybe get up there and battle for the championship by the time the season's end?
Probably not. We missed a week last week. We had a family, well, not family, but I had a concert to go with my kids. And, you know what, racing is great, but you got to keep the family happy, too, because they support me everywhere we go. And they're out in the shop helping me do stuff. So, no, we won't be competing for the championship this year. Maybe next year, if everything goes good, we can start off the beginning of the year. And we got a little bit more confidence now, and maybe we can come out and run with those guys a little bit better.
And then usually do a lot of traveling once the Labor Day kicks around and stuff slows down around here. Do you got any plans to do that this year?
With Humberstone not being dirt points now, I'm kind of hurt on the dirt point situation to follow the tour because you have to have track points, and that was the only track I was going to have my track points in. So if we can maybe see what dirt wants to do with us, if they want to honor dirt points for that track, and then if we have enough dirt points to go at the end of the year, we will plan on going, and we want to do as much race as we can at the end of the year. We want to go to Charlotte one last time with the sportsman car. We have a blast down there, and you get to meet a lot of nice people and do a little bit of partying down there.
So you got a lot of experience on dirt. If I was going to give you one vehicle across any kind of racing and one racetrack to race it at for the rest of your life, what are you picking?
I don't know. I like the big block stuff. I'd like to stay in the big block. The late models look pretty cool. I ran a sprint car for Stan Zankin way back, and we went to the Sprint Car Nationals. We weren't that great in it. We didn't qualify, of course, but you know what? It was fun. But I think I would like to do a big block and run around Eldora. It'd be kind of cool.
Oh yeah. That's pretty much it, Brad. Just a good job so far. Congratulations on the first 358 win a couple weeks ago, and keep it up.
Thanks, guys. You guys are doing a great job. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Brad Rouse pre-race before finishing fifth at Merrittville Speedway on Saturday night. Good to catch up with him. I asked that question about the championship and whether he felt like he could get back into the hunt. I know he missed last weekend. That had kind of a downer answer about that. But if he keeps clicking off top fives and then, Matty or Gary go racing somewhere else, no reason Brad can't get up there and battle for a championship.
Yeah, Brad missed the one race last week. Said he took his daughter to a concert in Dairy Lake. It was like the only thing she wanted for Christmas. So got to give Brad a shout out for that, for being a stand-up dad. And yeah, my goal for Rouse, if I was him, my goal would be to crack the top five, just to stay in that top five the whole year, and then maybe click off another win, some seconds, and he could probably climb into the top five in points. That would be super awesome after missing a night.
Yeah, for sure.
Where's that right now?
I think I'll get you that exact info in just a second, because I looked at it and I was not so even with missing the night, so he's currently sitting seventh.
I'm not up on my points.
Well,
yeah, so top five is totally doable.
Yeah, right. He's 102 points back of the lead, which is Pete right now. Pete Bignell's got the lead over. Williamson's got 460, so he's 4 points back in Lindbergh. So they're tied for second between Williamson and Lindbergh. Susie sits fourth, 14 back of the lead, and Chad Chevalier sits fifth, 44 points back, and that's how the mod championship is shaping up for Merrittville Speedway as of right now.
How many points back is Rousey?
Rouse is 102, so it's a pretty daunting task to get all the way up into the championship fight. But he's only. So he's 60
basically
back.
got to. That's basically a whole night. I think a feature win 60. At least it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to gain a whole night on those boys. But he has lots of good luck, and they have a little bad luck. It's doable.
Yeah, and even if they don't have any bad luck in front of them, you never know what's going to happen. If Matt and Gary have to go racing somewhere else, all of a sudden they miss one or two events.
I don't think we'll see Gary leaving to go anywhere.
No, you don't think so? See that?
I don't think Gary's in the points here now. I'm thinking he's going to stay for sure.
That's what I'm thinking. I was going to say
after the Merrittville ship, I think.
If Gary, I was going to say if Gary's committed, I think the title is his to lose, at least based off of how dominant he was on Saturday. Obviously things can change week to week, but
Pete's still leading it.
Yeah, Pete's leading it. He's got a 4-point cushion, so it's tight at the top. That is for sure.
And his win technically wasn't a points win.
No, it wasn't. It was the opening night, so they hadn't started counting points yet. So if Pete can get one, that would go a long way to extending that 4-point cushion. So before we get to it, we're gonna have our second guest a little later in the show. It's Darrell Farraway, who ended up winning the his second feature of the year. I think he also won his second heat too that night too. But he got his second feature win in the Right Choice Auto and Leisure Sportsman, and he was pumped about it. The Hamilton, Ontario native. I think it was his very first win earlier this year, first at Merrittville, but I think it might have been first period. We'll have to ask him about that. Um, do you remember?
Nope.
I don't think he's got one in Humberstone, right? So
If he had one other win, he tells me it was 10 years ago. Yeah.
right. So
He said he went, because when I was talking to him to line him up on the show, he said, can't believe I got a win 10 years apart, and then to get two before halfway is insane. So I'm super pumped to talk to Darrell in a minute here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't wait to catch up and get the full story on that one. He wins it. James Friesen brought it home second. Cody McPherson third. That was Cody's. Cody almost played the spoiler on that one because he worked his way up from 12th, took the lead with I think 3 laps to go, and started to drive away from Farraway. And Cody just picked the wrong line. He got a little lap traffic in front of him, and Darrell just sailed it in around the outside and was able to take the lead back. And then lap traffic cost Cody even more as he ended up falling another place behind and finished third behind Friesen. Billy Bleach Jr. brought home fourth, and Adam Leslie fifth. And that was your top 5 in the Sportsman. It was a good race, though. I like again to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Farraway was out front for most of it, but to have Cody come up there and almost steal it, it made it fun and interesting at the end.
Yeah, it looked like he was coming for sure, and I honestly missed what happened to Cody when I looked up. I was watching on one of the other battles, and then Farraway's back in the lead when I looked up, but then I saw Cody giving it to one of the lap cars going into the pits. Can't remember which car it was, but that told me that he had trouble with a lap car or something like that, and at least he gave it to Farraway, who gave Cody a ride a couple of years ago when he needed one. So I'm sure if anyone could win Farraway, sure Cody wasn't quite all that unhappy with the fact that Farraway won.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I want to say it was. I'll have to go back and check the replay on GeForce, but I want to say it was Terry Smith was the lap car. I think
That's
in
what
22.
I was thinking. But I was going to name him.
We'll check that on GeForce TV. Which shout out to those guys because coverage has been excellent. I love catching up on all the broadcasts. Like basically, my early weeknights are just spent watching racing. Thanks to those guys. So shout out to GeForce as well as always. Hoosier Stocks in action at Merrittville as well. Rob Murray wins it, gets a little redemption after having an issue with the car, getting it through tech. He gets back into victory lane a couple weeks later, wins it over Bailey, Craig Hanley, Jim Lampman, and Kyle Pelrine, your top 5.
Yep, I said Murray usually turns it up halfway through the year, and there he is again. Did he pick one up before? Or is this his first legal win? I thought he might have grabbed another one after the DQ, or no?
So I think I've got him with 2 legal ones, and then I think
that's what I thought. So end of the year. Here comes Rob Murray. End of story.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. It's let me look at the points here for those guys because I think it's doable.
Bailey's gonna be hard to catch.
I don't think Bailey's is. I don't think he's not that far out. He's definitely going to be. He's a long way from Murray to catch. So Bailey is 62 points up on Kyle Pelrine right now. Donnie Lampman's in third, awesome. 96 back. Zach Bleach is 98. Yeah, good for Kyle Pelrine. And that car is so sharp now. He's got the decals on it. That 47X looks fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, so Murray, that DQ really hurt him because he's at 168 back. So yeah, it might be all over, but the crying, especially if Bailey wins 1 or 2 more, and then Hoosier Stocks in Merrittville. But he again, we've got a Dave Bailey story that I feel like we got to talk to. We'll get there. We're gonna get there.
We'll get there.
Rona Dodge Mod Lights, Brent Beglow keeps the hot streak up. Again, guy is winning everything there is to win. And somebody who has been struggling this year at Merrittville, Josh Slider. I don't know what the difference is because it can't be short track to short track because he had a great night at Humberstone Thursday night.
You don't know what the difference is?
Second.
I'll tell you.
2 spins. What's the difference?
Between Josh and Brent, they come out of the same team, but Josh is running one of his own Savage chassis, and Brent's chassis is actually an old leader chassis, like used to be Josh's favorite before he started building his own Savage chassis, which is why I told them in the pits on Thursday when I was talking to both of them to switch cars for a night just for kicks and giggles, because like Brent's going to probably have the championship for sure at Merrittville locked up, so I'd love to see them switch and then see how Brent does in the Savage. Because I keep telling Josh it's a bad look
That
for his Savage when Brent's kicking his butt in a leader out of the same team.
That would be interesting. So knowing that information, that makes me think that Josh is really experimenting at Merrittville then, and
Yeah,
really working on some stuff because two spins. I never thought I would see Josh Slider to have two spins on his own in a mod light feature, but yeah, and especially it was funny too because he won his heat earlier in the night. It looks really strong, and I was like, okay, Josh Slider's back. He's gonna be the car to beat tonight, and started off that way, but wasn't able to really keep it up. And then, yeah, like I say, two spins. So weird to see Josh Slater struggling like that. But with that extra information from you, that makes me think there's some experimentation going on. I think that Savage chassis is not the fully formed race car that we might see in a year from now or something like that. So Bigelow wins another one. Jeffrey May brings it home second. Good to see Jeffrey May back out on the podium. Leroy Buscombe with a podium performance as well. Brought it home third. Sean Iftati fourth. And Tyler Winger, your top five there. And the Van Sickle Pet Value PV on the lanes. It was win number 7 for the 96 car, but win number 1 for Kyle Rothwell in that 96 car as he filled in for Tyler LaFontaine.
yep. Rothwell been having trouble. I think he said that in one of the interviews with his own cars. I know he says it on Facebook. He's been having motor troubles and stuff like that. But yeah, no trouble in the 96. And Rothwell knows his rate of victory lane, and he found it.
Yeah, no, Rothwell, no stranger to victory lane in the 4 cylinders at Merrittville. He had one of the more dominating years last year and then just hasn't been able to put. He hasn't been trying to race full time. He's been putting a lot of emphasis on Hannah Rothwell's race car there this year, and they have just been fighting
And
mechanical
I think he has
gremlins
his own
all year
business now
long.
too, laying concrete. I
Yeah,
think yeah. So yeah,
he's got a
definitely
lot
can't
of other
fault him
things
for
besides racing.
focusing on that. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then another close finish for Austin Worcester. When is this guy going to break through? It feels so weird to say, but he's so close every single week at Merrittville. Looking at the schedule for Merrittville, he finished second, fourth, second, fifth, fourth, third. He's been all over the map. Only one finish outside the top 5 at Merrittville for the year, and it was an 8th place finish. So Austin Worcester getting closer. I feel like that guy's got to get into victory lane soon here. No.
Oh, for sure. I've interviewed him before in feature wins, so he knows his way there. And sometimes you just have those seasons where everything is going right, but just not quite right enough. So all those second places, I think one year at Oshweekend I had 5 or 6 second places, so I know his pain, and you'll eventually get there.
Yeah, a little bit of solace though. We'll take a look at the points real quick here. In the 4 cylinders, he's actually the point leader.
There you go.
With LaFontaine missing the last race, so Worcester is leading the points. Mr. Consistency, Trevor DeBoer second, Tyler LaFontaine third in the 4 cylinders. And you mentioned earlier that Brent Bigelow is leading the points or running away with the points. Not the case in the mod lights. It's actually Tyler Winger out front.
My bad
Yes,
there.
because even though Bigelow has won a bunch of races, he's not. He's had a couple DNFs as well, right?
Correct.
So Winger, I think, has finished every race and has 2 wins. So the difference right there, 16 points to Bigelow, back to Bigelow for Tyler Winger, 16-point lead, and then 36 points back to Sean Iftati, 46 back to Jeffrey May. So Winger's going to have to hustle and bring home some more top 5s and a couple more wins if he's going to hang on to that one, because again, Bigelow, when he does finish, it does seem like he finishes first. So
Yep. But cool that Winger's leading the points. He's been running for quite a while now. I can remember watching him back in the go-kart days, and he's a pretty good shoe. And so yeah, if he's leading the points, Bigelow better be on his game, because Winger don't fall out very much. Always finishes.
yeah, he's a real humble guy too. You can tell when I talk
Yep.
to him in victory lane. He doesn't take the wins for granted. He doesn't take having a race car for granted. So Let's get to the final night of our Canada Day long weekend bunch of racing in Southern Ontario. You were on the call for this one. I missed this one. The Pinty's Canada Day weekend finale for uh, Humberstone Speedway.
Yeah, it's an awesome, fun little night. Crowd was pretty good for a Sunday after 4 nights in a row. Like we say, I gave a shout out to anyone in the stands that made it to all 4 nights. I went to every night, which is my first time since 2019 doing that, being on a track 4 nights in a row. So it felt good. I'm a little whipped now, but yeah, lots of good racing and some other stuff too.
Yeah, we'll get to the other stuff again. We got to. We'll talk about the racing first because the racing was good, especially in the sportsmen's side by side finish at the stripe. Brad Rouse gets the win over Cody McPherson by I'm seeing a tenth of a second.
Yeah, it was straight up Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch coming to the line. They banged door bars. Cody got knocked down a little bit into the infield, but it was no harm, no foul, in my opinion. They were both coming hard. It was an awesome race to watch and call. And Justin Sharp was the early leader, but then he got some mud packed in the right rear, and he started getting that vibraty, out of balance kind of thing going on. So then he kind of fell back, and then Rossi got the lead, and Cody with I don't know, I see him on Facebook a lot saying he redraws bad. He redrew bad on Sunday, started 11th, but then he got the lead or got close to the lead and battled him. I can't remember. I don't think if he got the lead or not. I don't think he did. But there's lots of yellows late, and that gave Cody a bunch of shots at him, and it was a door banger coming to the line, and it was awesome.
Yep. So Rouse, McPherson, Adam Leslie brings it home third. Jay Mallory fourth. Trevor Wright, your top five there in the sportsman. Also in action, we had
Shout
yeah,
out to
good
Trevor
run
Wright.
for him, eh? Especially after that was one of the things we didn't talk about from Merrittville Speedway is Trevor Wright got turned. I don't want to say that he got turned. I haven't seen the official replay, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, he either got turned or
Me neither.
spun it in front of the field on the front row in the sportsman feature, and that piled up a whole bunch of race cars, including his own. And obviously, they got it pieced back together for Sunday to bring it home with a good finish.
Yep, I'm friends with the Wright family. I was talking to them before the race on Saturday, and after his heat, he ran a good heat on Saturday, and it was tough to watch him that happen to him because I've been there. I know how it feels to be pumped up, thinking you might have a shot at the win, and go sour, and that really blows. I didn't even go see them after the races because I just didn't want to see the dejection in their faces. It was going to wreck my own mood probably, but I love those guys, and it was awesome to see them come back top five on Sunday.
That was the story of my brief go kart career. I'm pretty sure it was the elation of I've been running last all day and they're gonna put me on the pole. All right, cool, awesome. I finally have a chance to see what I can do. And it just usually ended up with me junking the car in the first turn or dropping a couple spots after blowing the corner. So that was as some people have ups and downs in racing. I just had like a whole down here
Flashback.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, it wasn't on dirt and it wasn't on ovals, so you never know.
Yeah.
Maybe a dirt oval go kart I'd be a little bit more successful in. As far as the late models go, Rob Lettingham took the win in there. Austin King second, Jeff Damon third, Kyle Sopes fourth, and Adam Turner fifth. Your top five in the late models.
Yep, that was a good race too. There was 18 cars in attendance. Lots of Brighton guys came down. Charlie Sandercock was in the house. He's always a heavy hitter, so that's why it was cool to see local boy Robbie Lettingham, veteran from Port Colborne, take the win in the R19. Uh, Austin King led a lot of it, and then I remember, yeah, there was a mix-up. I thought the race was over, so I called the checker flag, but then there was a yellow, so we had to call it back. And then King had the lead, and then the two-lap shootout, Lettingham was able to get by him, and yeah, good run for local boy Rob Lettingham. That makes him 2 for 2.
I had the opposite happen at Merrittville on Saturday night where I was calling a caution because I saw the flag waving, but they didn't call it actually in the tower. And it was actually should have
Yeah.
been a yellow and checkered situation, but you'll see that back on GeForce TV if you go back and watch the Saturday nights. I want to end off with the Thunder stock, so I'm going to jump first to the mini stocks here. Kyle Rothwell in the 96 gets second win of the weekend, borrowing Tyler LaFontain's car. Leroy Buscombe brings it home second. Big call to Hannah Rothwell in the 114, finally putting together that long-awaited good run. All kinds of mechanical gremlins as Hannah's tried to get her mini stock career going really, and I think this is a good jumping off point for Hannah to bring it home with a top five, a podium place finish. Good to see, and I'm sure the Rothwell family had a big celebration on Sunday night for that one. John Lubeck fourth, and Cole Hardy with a top five in the 7C in the mini stocks.
Yep, awesome run for Kyle and Hannah. The first question I asked him was, I said, "Hey, Hannah finished third. What do you think about that?" I didn't even ask him about his own win for the first question, but yeah, I've seen Hannah again. Another kid I've seen from go-karts. I've seen her in go-kart races. I know she's a good shoe, and her first mini stock win clearly is just around the corner as well, because she had an awesome run in that 114. She had to pass a few cars to get there, and another car out there was Tyler LaFontaine, just to confuse me even more, was running Clinton Barrick 09 on Sunday. So I had Rothwell in LaFontaine's car winning the race, and then LaFontaine and Barrick 09. So they were playing tricks on me that night.
Yeah, definitely hard to keep up for us announcers. Also hard to deal with fans showing their displeasure to drivers in victory lane, especially when the victory lane is as up close and personal as it is at Humberstone Speedway. So Dave Bailey goes 2 for 2 at Humberstone, wins the GR Enviro Rail Inc. Street Stock feature at Humberstone. And you had a guest commentator, we'll call her, in Victory Lane, for a lack of a better term. She sure was loud on the mic in the crowd.
Okay, let's start off with this. That girl got all the attention because of that video, and that guy was standing right next to her. But before Bailey even got to Victory Lane, before that girl even started with that, I was getting it from at least 6 or 7 guys from like the stands towards the turn 1 area, and they were being pretty vulgar, like hammering me about it. Like, oh man, like it got me riled up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like even Alex Bruce, the photographer, comes over. He's like, "I know they ain't yelling at me. They must be yelling at you." So I was already pretty jazzed up, and then that girl started. Yeah, and then like I say, most people just know about her, but don't think it was just her. It was the most hostile victory lane I've ever been in my life, easily. And yeah, I've seen fistfights with less hostility than that. Like seriously.
Yeah, that was insane. If you haven't seen it on Chief Force TV, or it's been posted a couple of different places on Facebook, a couple fans just really dislike Dave Bailey. Everybody loves a winner. Lots of
I
haters for
think this
that
was the main
Bruce Baker
problem.
49.
So one Jay Fontaine, this is what I think. I have no idea what got them all that riled up. Like Bailey winning for sure all the time, got it, but like Fontaine spun out the 25 and Doug put him to the tail. He didn't tell him to go to the pits. He told him to go to the tail, but Fontaine, I guess, didn't like that call, so he took himself to the pits and parked it. But so to me, the fans might have thought they put him tail for that, or put him in the pits for that, and maybe that's why they were so, because they were rowdy. Like it was nuts. So yeah, to me, I think that's what might have been what it was. They weren't happy. I guarantee weren't happy with Fontaine going to the pits because he's a local hero.
Well, yeah, they were
And he
saying
was
that
running well.
they were saying Bailey should be at the tail, like Bailey. And I was like, what did Bailey do to put himself at the tail?
That's
right? Like,
because earlier in the race, I can't quite remember it, but like Bailey got off the track in turn 1 and 2, and a couple cars snuck under him. But it was during another yellow or something, or coming to a yellow. So it was where that rule where Dougie gave him the spots back because he held, I don't know, something like that. That's why they were super mad about that too. So yeah, it was kind of a two-edged thing. There were two separate incidents.
yeah,
The guys that were given to me at first was definitely because of the 1J having to go to the pits. And they were hammering me almost harder than the girl in Victory Lane.
Jeez. Yeah, fun night for you. So remind me to send you down for all the street stock interviews from now on.
Yeah.
Every time we have a race to call it
I can take it.
So
Yeah.
maybe we'll grab that and share it up on our social media too, so people can see if they haven't seen the clip yet. It's been going around, and we'll try to share it up at Southern Ontario Dirt Show on Facebook, at SODS Pod, elsewhere for you, Twitter and Instagram. And we'll get going with the TikToks as well too. And then again, if you want to write in, we'll probably start doing some more Instagram questions, Instagram mailbag stuff for next week's pod. Start getting you guys involved a little bit more. But someone we got to get involved with now. How about we kept the man waiting a little bit long, so let's get to Darrell Farraway, your winner at Merrittville Speedway on Saturday nights in the Sportsman.
Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Want to support the Southern Ontario Dirt Show and help us expand our coverage across the province and Western New York?
Well, your ad could be playing right here. Got a brand or business that deserves more attention? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com, to become a sponsor of the podcast. And now, let's get back to the show.
All right, it's the Southern Ontario Dirt Show with Jonathon and Travis, and we are joined this week by Darrell Farraway, who is now a two-time feature winner at Merrittville Speedway. Welcome to the show, Darrell.
Awesome. It feels great to be on the show. A little different. I'll say that's for sure. But feels great winning 2 races. The car's been feeling great. A lot of momentum lately at Merrittville. So just been feeling great.
Yeah, we wanted to have you on earlier in the year when you picked up your first win. You told me in our messaging back and forth, get you on the show, that you actually did have a win 10 years ago. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I picked up actually at Humberstone. It was a long time ago. It was a nice green flag race, I believe it was. It was I believe I started 5th, and BJ Willard started. I think he started a little bit farther back. I believe it's either when we went to draw races or if it was still handicap. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I got out and just had a huge lead, and it was a good dominating race. Felt great, and ever since then, just been chasing the other victory at other tracks, and been close a few times, just haven't been able to pick it up. It just, sometimes I think the luck just doesn't go your way, and sometimes it goes your way.
Yeah, fair enough. So tell us what's the difference, or what's kind of been happening in your racing career in the last 10 years between that win and getting back in victory lane this year?
Be honest with you, this year I've been trying to focus a little bit more mentally and actually paying attention more to, be honest, G-Force with the TV on, or with the channel on YouTube. Just watching video, seeing more of the mistakes that I've been doing. And we had Cody in our car, and it's not like we've picked up any crazy setups or anything like that from him. From him, the biggest thing that I've learned is it's just consistency. If you're not hitting your marks, if you're not turning the consistent laps, you're never going to win. So that's the biggest thing that we've done. This year, we've just kind of got back to the basics where, honestly, it's setups that we used to run about 5 years ago, back when we were on torsions. And now that we've gone to a coil, we've chased setups to try making it a little bit more comfortable for me. My biggest thing is, we would argue in the garage a little bit between me, my uncle, and my dad, just looking at setups and trying to get the car a little bit faster and get it so it's a little bit more comfortable for me. And I feel the last few weeks we've actually really dialed it down. When it seems like we're missing our targets, we're going kind of back to our old ways where, we're playing around with the car a little too much and just getting away from honestly just being a simple, easy, basic setup in the car.
So you talked about, I was going to ask you this, but you talked about having Cody in your car and how that helped. And a lot of the time it's just seeing a guy out in your stuff, getting it done. It just tells you your stuff can get it done. But then you had that battle with Cody for your second win on Saturday, and it got pretty dicey in lap traffic for him. And it was really exciting for me as a fan sitting in the stands. So why don't you tell us about the battle?
Yeah, honestly, when I seen his car, like I said, I was puckering immediately. It's you see Cody, you see James Michael Freeze, and you see any of these top runners, and immediately you start thinking, how do I either A, just get behind him so the next guy is not passing me, or B, just go for it. And typically I would usually go for the stick behind Cody and let's go for second. That's awesome for me. And after already having victory this year, I went with, you know what, I'm just going to go right back up to the top, and either I'm sliding off the track, going to get some grip. And unfortunately for Cody hitting the lap car or getting into the lap car and the car coming down on him and moving, other than that, it was just, for me, it was just go for it or just finish second. So yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't think for 2 wins this season, I don't think there's anybody who's been more excited in victory lane as well. So tell us where's that excitement come from, and how much you really appreciate these wins and these opportunities to get those checkers.
a lot of years of being close to winning, a lot of years of, a 25 lap race leading 22 laps and the red flag comes out, having a straightaway lead and then the leaders on your back tail. So for me, it's just Yeah, honestly a different experience. It's just a different feeling. To be able to go out there and hold my own and to know that, and getting back to with Cody in the car, I believe me, I got the confidence learning that. Used to always think you had to have the best of the best. And then having Cody come into our car, and given the year of our car and how old everything is, the equipment we use, it really makes us realize that it came down to a good race program that I already had behind me. I just had to learn the confidence myself as the driver.
No doubt about it. Confidence, like they say in racing, is always worth a good 20, 30 horsepower. But I used to hang out at Flamborough back in the day, and we used to see the 53 hobby car going around. Was that like, who was that? Was that your uncle or your dad, or did you drive that thing too? Or tell us about the old hobby car, because that was a big deal. Fairways and the 53 hobby car back in the day.
Yeah, so there's actually Ben, my nephew. He's racing go karts now, so he's the fourth generation of the fairways to drive. In '70, I'm probably gonna get this wrong. My brother Len's probably gonna get mad at me, but in '73, I believe it was, my grandpa ran the car, and then in '74, my dad began running. So in '74, we started running the hobby cars. My uncle, I think, ran maybe 2 years. I think he had a bad accident, said, "I'm done with it. I don't want to race this anymore." At one point in time, the hobby cars, I believe in the '90s, went on a travel only series. Um, for us, we didn't have the finances to do the traveling, to do anything like that. So we got out of racing at that point in time. It wasn't until I think for 2003, me and my dad built the car together to run the hobbies again. In 2004, I began to run the car just at Flamborough. He ran the OA shows, and then 2005 was pretty much me running. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2008, 2009, we started running dirt racing. And then, yeah, ever since then, it's just been myself running dirt, mainly with my dad. At the beginning, we split the car. So the nice thing about running the Sportsman's, we could run multiple drivers at different tracks or at the same track. So my dad would run Humberstone, I'd run Merrittville. Eventually, we switched. I ran Humberstone, he ran Merrittville. And actually, now my brother Jay, he runs occasionally. He's ran Merrickville for a season or two. I'm terrible with history. I forgot what I ate 2 hours ago. But yeah, so for us, it's just a fun family time. So I think the excitement you really do see in the victory lane is it just comes from a place of a racing family, and every chance we get to be in victory lane for us, it's just a magical experience.
That's amazing, man. Honestly, awesome story. Awesome family in racing.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I wanted to ask you about is that if if you're feeling confident that you can be a week to week contender now, because you got 2 wins, so your stats would say otherwise, but I feel like you're still like you have this personality of like almost like you're just happy, you're lucky to be there, but uh, your skills and your year so far suggests otherwise. So how do you feel you rank amongst the top contenders of the Sportsman?
I'd honestly like to think that on any night I can finish in the top five. I feel when we traveled before, we were usually a pretty strong contender. Honestly, usually came down to driver error. But I feel our car is always possible to win. Any lucky chance, any break you can get on the track can easily get you from seventh in the field up to third on a simple little incident. So honestly, I think any point in time we can win, and I think that's the difference this year within me as a driver is going to that track any night. Doesn't matter if I'm starting 15th, I feel I can win.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's how I feel about my program too. Is the car can win for sure. It's all about the driver getting it done. And for you, 2 wins in half a season, like I said, you got that confidence flowing. It wouldn't shock me to get a third.
Oh, I really hope so. The biggest thing I will say this year is, to be honest, I don't even know where point standings sit for Merrickville or anything like that. Me and my family, usually we get a little bit of a tuffle about points. I'm the type of person who I don't really care for points. I honestly think that you get a lot more issues and drama within racing because of points. Now that's just me as a driver who likes to run one night a week. I don't like to run 3, 4, 5 shows. Now, sure, if someone was going to pay me a full ride, well, why not? If that's a living. But as a hobby, I find I need to have a personal life. So a one show for me is kind of where it makes me happy, and yeah.
Yep, that's totally understandable too.
Well, you're in at the 7th spot right now in the points. Even though you haven't really cared about it or looked too much at it, but sitting 7th right now, 96 back of the lead, and you got some very catchable drivers in front of you if you put some consistency together. So I don't count you out in the slightest. I'll get you out of here on this one, Darrell. You obviously have experience driving on some different racetracks and some different vehicles. If I was going to give you one type of race car and one track to race it at for the rest of your life, what's the combination you're putting together?
It's a good question. I'm probably going different than a lot of other people. I'm going Baja. I'm gonna have to go some fun, long endurance race where it's gonna take days and a good challenge and a good team. I think it'd be I'm going Baja.
Baja 1000 with Robbie Gordon. I love it.
All right, that's a good
Mikey
one.
Krutschka
sure.
said stadium trucks. So to Baja 1000, that's awesome too.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Yeah, to me, any type of racing, you give me 4 wheels, I don't really care. Let's just go do it. If it's a lawn tractor, if it's a lawnmower, let's just go have some fun, guys.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time tonight, Darrell, and good luck the rest of the way in your sportsman and all your future endeavors. And hopefully we'll be chatting again in Victory Lane sometime soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
take
man.
care. Darrell Farraway on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show.
And the checkered is out on another episode of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe for future episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Have a question for the show? Email us, southernontariodirtshow@gmail.com. Thanks for supporting local racing in Southern Ontario, and we'll see you at the track.